No matter what browser I use, I always install certain extensions. And really, there are about 8 extensions that I use in every single browser that I install. And these are things that I kind of can't live without. They're extensions that just make my browsing experience better. Now, I do think that browser extensions are very personal, so that everyone kind of just goes out and finds the things that they need. But I thought what I'd do today is talk about the browser extensions that I really enjoy. So maybe if you haven't heard about one of these and it might solve a problem for you, you can go check it out. So let's go ahead and jump in. These are my favorite browser extensions for 2025. But before we jump in, if you leave a thumbs up on this video, I'd be really appreciative. It'd really help the channel. So the first one on the list is Linkding. Now, Linkding is the save later application that I've settled on. I have a video recorded for Linkding. I don't know if it's out yet or not. I have a whole bunch of videos in the queue, so I don't know when things come out quite yet, but the Linkding is a save now similar to Bitwarden, which I did a video on not too long ago, and Pocket. There's not much to the extension other than being able to save a link to my Linkding instance, so there's not much here to say other than it's really good. So if you use Linkding, you'll want the extension. If you're using some other save now service like Pocket or Bitwarden or Hoarder or whatever, they also have browser extensions that you can use, and these are basically all the same. So check that out if you do use a save now service. The next one that I use is the share to Mastodon extension. This basically just lets me share links to Mastodon. That's basically all it does. I do that all the time, and one of the reasons why I need an extension to it is because not very many websites have a button to share to Mastodon. Unfortunately, Mastodon's not that popular and hasn't penetrated the internet as well as we'd all want. So I have to have an extension to be able to do that very easy without having to copy everything over into my Mastodon client. This is just easier. The next one, and this is probably the one that I use the most, and also the one that I may not be using for very much longer, and that's Bitwarden. Now, I have preached the praises of Bitwarden for years. It is a good password manager, or it was. So they updated the extension here in Vivaldi and on the Chromium-based browsers. I don't know if they did the same on Firefox or not. I don't use Firefox, but I'm assuming they probably did. And they made it way worse. Like, way, way worse. They hid away the two-factor stuff, and while you can get that stuff back, it no longer looks like it's well integrated into the extension. It just kind of looks like it's tacked on. And also, they made it so that it's really hard to fill the passwords into a password field. Instead of having an entire section that you can click on to fill stuff, it's now a little bitty button that you kind of have to remember to hit. Even though it says fill right there, my brain has gotten so used to being able to hit anywhere in the extension, basically, that I keep doing that and not hitting the button. It's not a great experience. So I don't know if I'm going to be keeping Bitwarden or not. I self-host Bitwarden, or more accurately, I host Vaultwarden. So I like the self-hosted nature of it, but the extension's not very good anymore, so I'm just a little disappointed, but I've been using it for years, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. If I do move, I'll be moving to Proton Pass, so just to keep that in mind. The next one is Language Tool. Now, a lot of people will swear by Grammarly, but I prefer Language Tool for various reasons. I think it does a better job. I think the UI is better. It's also cheaper, so you can, if you pay for the paid version, you can get like a couple years for like $60 instead of $160 or whatever it is with Grammarly. So I really like Language Tool. You guys gotta remember, I'm a writer by trade. I also do a lot of editing in my day job. So having a backup to what's in my head, I can run things through that and kind of make sure I didn't miss anything for my job. But also, just while I'm writing regularly on the internet, this thing can check along as I write and make sure I don't make some boneheaded mistakes, like misspelling the word "the" over and over again because my dyslexia kicked in. So, and that happens all the time. So having a Language Tool is really good. That one's actually called Language Tool, so I definitely check that out. The next one is a game changer. It's called Consent-o-Matic. Now, this thing is one of those things where you'll just install it and you'll never have to see it again, but you'll know it's back there working. You know those little pop-ups that pop up all the time along the bottom saying, "Hey, we use cookies. Is it okay if we store some cookies?" First off, you didn't share any of your cookies with me, and they're not the good kind of cookies, all right? The point is that you see those damn pop-ups all the time. Also, they're usually in varying places, so they can be on the left, they can be on the right, they can take up the whole damn middle. They're all over the place, and you always have to click on them, and it's annoying. So what Consent-o-Matic does is it just says yes. It just says yes. That's all it does. It will click on the buttons for you, and then you don't even see it. So chances are if you install this, you'll actually see just like a glimpse out of the corner of your eye of this thing actually working. It just like really quickly, the pop-up will pop up. It'll quickly press the button for you, and it'll go away. Happens in a split second. Sometimes you'll see it, sometimes you won't. But that means that it makes the internet much cleaner because you won't see those pop-ups nearly as often. So I adore that plugin. It's really, really good. The last one on my list is Vimium C. Now, there are a half dozen, probably, Vim emulators for your browser out there. These things basically allow you to use Vim motions and Vim controls inside your browser. The one that I like the most is called Tridactyl, and that's Firefox only. And it is so disappointing that it's Firefox only. That one's so good. It has lured me back to Firefox many times, but then Firefox does something that Firefox does, and I need to go back to Vivaldi. So it's almost enough to get me to switch back to Firefox, but not quite. So if you're on Firefox, Tridactyl's where you want to be. It's the best one out there. But Vimium C is in actually both Firefox and on Chromium-based browsers, so it's good enough. It works really well. It gives you Vim motions. It gives you the ability to search through a page with Vim, the Vim slash or whatever. So I use that constantly because that way I can just move between things with my keyboard without having to pick up my mouse or pick up my hand to move to my mouse or whatever. So those are my top extensions. There are a couple more that I didn't really share with you. I didn't talk about Simple Login simply because I don't use it very often. And I'll probably, like I said, move to Proton Pass, which has that built in. So I don't usually use that all that often. I just have it installed. The other one that I use is just a simple link shortener. And again, I don't use that very often either. So those are things that I could probably get rid of and not miss all that much. So those are my top browser extensions that I use currently. If you have browser extensions that you'd like to share, leave those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Just to keep in mind, don't leave a link. If you leave a link to your browser extension, your comment's going to get insta-deleted by YouTube. I don't control that. It just happens. They do it for spam reasons. So don't share a link. Just share the name, and everybody who wants to check that out can then Google it for themselves. So there you go. If you can follow me on Mastodon, that link will be in the video description. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/thelinuxcast. If you do that, you can get a weekly exclusive podcast that I share for all of my supporters. Usually it's about 10 or 15 minutes long. It's just me sitting there bullshitting for that amount of time on various topics, Linux, my setup, technology, all sorts of different things. Things that wouldn't really work well on the channel is because I'm not going to edit the damn thing. It's just me stream of consciousness out into the ether for people to hear. So if that sounds at all fascinating to you, I know I just did a fantastic job selling it. That was a pristine marketing campaign that I just did right there. I'm sure it was. Anyways, you can support me and get that awesomeness on patreon.com/linuxcast or support me by hitting the join button right there below my face. Thanks to everybody who does support me on Patreon and YouTube. You guys are all absolutely amazing. Without you, the channel just would not be anywhere near where it is right now. So thank you so very much for your support. I truly do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so very much. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.